Buy an old Toyota, become a millionaire. This right here is a 2004 Toyota Camry with over 200,000 miles. And what I'm going to do today is walk you through how exactly a car like this can help you become a millionaire much earlier on in life. Now, when people look at this, they see an old beater, but when I look at it, I see one of the biggest reasons we've been able to build wealth. Now, this car has saved us tens of thousands of dollars, and it's certainly not because we bought it cheap. Now, did we buy this car cheap? Yes. My wife bought this for $2,300 7 years ago, back when she was in college. So I'll walk you through the numbers on this, and then I'll also walk you through the numbers of how having an older car like this can help put you on the path to become a millionaire much sooner. Let's get going. Now, before I dive into the numbers, don't skip this. It's important that you understand why owning a car like this can accelerate building wealth. And it really just starts with depreciation. It's one of the biggest hidden costs for car ownership, okay? If you look at brand new cars, that initial drop, as soon as a car is driven off the lot, most cars will lose 10% of their value immediately. And then within a year, one of the statistics that Edmunds released is that cars will lose between 20 to 30% of their value. And then long term, 5+ years, most cars will lose 50 to 60% of their original value. So the value of having an older car like this that's done the majority of its depreciation is that cost is automatically going to be offset. The next piece of value to this is maintenance. And I think a lot of people will assume that an older car is going to come with more expensive maintenance. Now, does this come with more maintenance than a newer car? Yes, absolutely. It's an older car, but the numbers will blow your mind. Okay, my wife and I just ran the numbers on this. We've averaged $250 a year per year, not per month, per year in maintenance. Okay, why is it so cheap? Well, older Japanese cars, Toyotas, Hondas especially, were made to last forever. Okay, they're everywhere. Parts are everywhere. Mechanics know them inside and out. They're comfortable working on them. This is going to automatically keep your costs low. And to take this a step further, if we subtract out the costs of our normal consumables, meaning oil changes, tires, brakes, this car has only averaged $85 per year in maintenance. By far the cheapest car to maintain that we've ever owned. The last piece I want to highlight before I dive into the numbers here is the fact that having an older car like this can help protect your cash flow. Now, this is probably the most important thing that I've mentioned, because every single month, as my wife and I drove this paid off, very cheap car, that saved us hundreds of dollars that otherwise probably would have been going to a car lender if we had a car payment. What that allowed us to do is it allowed us to take that money to invest it, to pay off debt, to build other assets. And over time, that's just mattered to us so much more than what specifically we drive. Now, it's bittersweet making this video because not only is this the first time you're seeing this Toyota Camry, but it's also going to be the last time. And that's because it was affected by a very large hailstorm. Car got a ton of damage. We submitted a claim and we got a lot more money than we thought we would. So we decided to part ways with it. This car has more than served its purpose and has played a massive role in helping us build the financial foundation we have today. So I decided to pull over here just to show you the numbers of what things would actually look like if you were to buy an old used Japanese car and how that can help put you on the trajectory potentially to become a millionaire. So if we look at the numbers here, the average used car payment in the US today is $531 for a used car. And for a new car, it's even more alarming. It's $770. And if we go and just look at, hey, what are the average used car loan terms? Well, usually somebody's going to finance a car over about 5.5 years. And the rate for a used car is 11.43%, which I'll just pause there because I think sometimes people look at that and they're like, oh, I could never have an 11.43 interest rate. I'm just going to lose so much money. And then people will go out and they'll buy a brand new car and they'll fall for the promotional financing, the 2-3%. And great, they're saving a ton of money on interest. This is true, but then also how much are you now losing on depreciation? It's a massive hidden cost. Now again, I'm generalizing here. There's always going to be exceptions or times where maybe that might make sense. It's just never made sense for my personal calculations and our goals. So here's what is important to understand. Okay, if you take out a loan for $24,200, why that amount? Well, if we look at an average payment of $531, which is what it is in the United States today, I can't highlight that. There we go, $531. You're looking at a loan of $24,200 over the course of 5 years. I know the model said 5.5 years, so this will actually be helping conservative. It's helping the individuals that might be doing this, and you get an average return rate of 11.43% over the course of 5 years. Somebody will have paid $31,882. But here's the thing: the car, when you bought it, let's say if you put a zero down payment, $24,200, has done some depreciating. Okay, if we look at the calculator, $24,200 times, I think we talked about how Edmunds, according to Edmunds, over a course of 5 years, most cars will lose 50 to 60% of their value. So roughly the car is now worth $12,100, but according to interest, somebody paid $31,800. $31,800. Somebody effectively has lost almost $20,000 if they did that. $20,000 that they could have spent investing. So it's important to understand that. Now, if we take a look at and say, hey, instead of doing what's average, instead of what most people are doing, and we have an epidemic of this, we've normalized this as a society, it's really sad. And instead, if somebody said, you know what, instead of getting a car payment, I'm going to go invest that over the course of 5 years. Instead of getting a 5-year car payment for $531, I'm going to invest for 5 years every single month, $531. Well, what would that create? Well, if we assume an average return in the market of 10%, average return in the market's been roughly that since its inception, somebody would have close to $41,000 saved and invested up until that point. Now, again, they've had a car like this, they've saved money on depreciation, they've averaged whatever the monthly maintenance costs or yearly maintenance costs are going to be, but they've saved a ton of money. Okay, $40,000, $654. Well, now, if we take that $40,654 and we invest it, so we assume that this person is, let's say, 30 years old. Over the next 35 years, they'll turn 65, and they assume an average 10% return. And after this 5-year period of investing, they choose to, you know what? We're going to coast. We're not going to invest anymore, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. This is just a model. This is just an example. Well, over the next 35 years, that sum will be worth $1.1 million. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how purchasing an old used Japanese car can help you become a millionaire. It's one of the smartest things people can do. It is not sexy. It's not flashy. Sometimes people might assume, hey, you're driving an older car. Either you're broker than broke, or I believe oftentimes the people that drive these cars are some of the most wealthiest and the smartest people. That is a wrap. The Camry is getting picked up by insurance. In the comments, guys, please share any tips that have helped you build wealth along the way. That way we can all learn from one another. As always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.